And among the people who were on these five-star seminar circuit junkets of Syed Ghulam Nabi Fai, who was accused of being an ISI agent, and he later pleaded guilty on federal charges of spying for the Pakistani spy agency. Millions of dollars were routed to him by the ISI. He received directions from the ISI, and he held these so-called Kashmir forums in five-star hotels in America. The shocking part of it was several members of the so-called establishment of India, the elite of India, the thinkers of India, the columnists of India, and some journalists of India were flying to the United States of America. How easy is it to buy loyalty? A business class ticket, a five-star hotel stay, and a free junket across a few American cities. Is that enough to buy loyalty? And therefore, my last question to you is this. I have seen so many cases where there's only one thing which comes to my mind. Why are people not calling a spade a spade? And I have one confession to make at the end. I didn't break the CWG scam. Do you know who broke the CWG scam? In common parlance outside this auditorium, it was, who broke the CWG? It's Times Now, it's Arnab, it's Navika Kumar. I want to tell you, the person who broke the CWG scam was Suresh Kalwadi. I'll tell you why. It's a remarkable story, I haven't shared it before. See, these scams are available all over the place. If a journalist wants to see, honestly, you want to do your job, there is corruption, there is scum, there is grime, there are rapes, there are incidents all over the place. You don't want to cover. You want to be the mouthpiece of people. A diplomatic correspondent wants to be a diplomat, a business journalist dreams of being a corporate. A political journalist, most unfortunately, also wants to be a politician. It's true, I'm telling you the brutal reality of journalism in our country. And I'm going to change that to the extent that I can. But now I want to end with the story of the CWG scam. The CWG scam came to me in a form of 3 pieces of paper of Her Majesty's government. I'll take 2 minutes. So on these pieces of paper it is written that there were some Indians who came for the organizing committee, they were hosting the inaugural ceremony, and there's unaccounted money of 250,000 pounds. Taxi bills, unpaid bills, unclear bills, etc. It was a hard piece of paper. We put the story out, we sent a reporter to London. So I was absolutely amazed at how the British government will go down and find even 250,000 pounds of unaccounted money in taxi bills is actually tracked by the Treasury Department, and there is up and down. I don't know what's happening in our country. So I picked it up as a story. The problem was that Mr. Suresh Kalwadi, either nervous or scared or riled or worried that it's a typical Times Now story which comes in 19 stages. He thought this is stage 1. Mr. Gadkari had 17 stages. Before the 18th stage, the BJP acted. So he thought it's a typical time. He said, before the 2nd stage, let me have a press conference. He had a press conference immediately, called everybody in Delhi and said, I'm going to sue Times Now, I'm going to sue Arnab, etc., etc. The rest is history. I assure you, and I assure Mr. Suresh Kalwadi, that had it not been for his needless provocation, I would not have gone deeper into this story. What I found after that was because he riled us up. And I realized that nobody but somebody who has something to hide reacts like that. And I think in his expression, we are students of psychology as well, and in his expressions I found something on this. The point I'm saying is this, ladies and gentlemen. The distance from the establishment is important to keep. The last thing which I tell my journalists is, don't take a cinema hall pass or don't take anything free from anyone, including a pass to the Commonwealth Games inaugural ceremony. The journalist and the politician cannot cohabit. It is not possible. The nature of their jobs are completely contrarian, and actually they should be in direct conflict. The onus of drawing the line, the Lakshman Rekha, is actually with the journalist. And that's where we make a mistake. I know the cash for vote scam has hurt me. The Radia tape scam has embarrassed me. And the journalism we are trying to bring The change we are trying to bring is to restore the credibility of our profession, which once can really make a big change to our country. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
I'm sure there are a lot of questions to be asked. So we'll just allow 2 or 3 relevant questions, please. If anybody's got a relevant question, please raise your hand. There'll be a mic runner. Okay, great. Mr. Salgaonkar. Please make it relevant and short.
I have no question. I just want to support what Arnab said.
Oh, we all support him, sir. We all support him. Let's use this time for the questions.
Oh, Mr. Kalmadi, in his first press conference said it was all decided at the Buckingham Palace. That was the reason for the search of those 250,000.
So we can go on like this forever. Please, let's come to relevant questions. Yes, Hemanba.
Hi. Arnab, I have a question for you. What story have you covered that stands out most in your mind? And what would you say has been the greatest change in news as far as coverage is concerned?
Okay, I'm going to be taking that question from him because he doesn't let anybody talk on TV. So today I'm not going to let him talk. I'm going to play a small clip. I'm sure that's the one which he remembers the most and that was most fun for him. So let's have a look at that clip. It's a fun clip. Let's enjoy it. It was this, definitely.
Women, will you please clarify it? My gender, I'm matter will not end then. What are dented and painted women? Who are dented and painted women? Explain what you meant by dented and painted women. I want to know what dented and painted women means. Dented, painted, dented, painted,
Unfortunately, the sound is very bad. Unfortunately, the sound is extremely bad, but the point is that this was the most enjoyable interview because I've never seen a politician getting hammered so badly, and I congratulate Arnab for that. So now one more one last relevant question, please. Yeah. Whoever can get the mic.
Arnab, can you tell us how do you handle the hate of the politicians which they have for you?
The what?
The hate of the politicians which they have for you.
I tempt them. And I tell you why. Because they ask me, why do they come on your program? Do they come to get insulted, to get hammered, as he says? The simple answer is this, that they know they have to reach to you. And when people are watching, then they will come. You see, the tables have turned. When I started this profession, we used to beg people to come on programs. Now, honestly, we have a choice. And people want to come because they want to reach. At 9 o'clock, more and more people are watching. I'm sure they also know that. So we tempt them every day. Sometimes we tell a politician, not today, we'll take you day after.
One last question. Yeah, take your mic.
This is Khandekar here. Arnab, it's very nice and very thoughtful, encouraging that those issues are coming up. And I am an ardent follower. What one would like to see more of is, once you start something like the case of the IS officer in Chandigarh, what is the status now? Whether the system has been able to do justice to him. You have brought it to the fore, but possibly all these things get buried after time. So how would you plan to keep them alive and or bring it to a logical conclusion? That's my question.
See, there are two things. The Ashok Khemka story will not die. It was followed up. It was followed for a couple of weeks. But when at one point the officer says that I just want to be careful about the privacy of my family, etc., you step back. I assure you the Ashok Khemka story, I'm sure you're talking about that, is not going to die. It will be brought back. When something is in the public domain, it cannot go. If nobody else does, we will go back to it in a month. For sure we will. But the need for follow-ups is very important. The Ruchika Girotra case was buried for 14 years and nobody cared about it. The case of SPS Rathod and the molester DGP, it was not followed for 14 years. I wonder why. In the hierarchy of journalists, it had become an unimportant story. A DGP molesting a 14-year-old girl, driving her to a suicide and embarrassing her family had become commonplace in our country, just as all the rapes in Delhi were before this particular incident. The question, sir, is that of emphasis. When you emphasize on a particular issue and you say, no, this is not acceptable, then I think people react. It's a huge responsibility on the media to decide what it wants to pick up as a theme. I bear this responsibility every day. And I feel that, between all the political stories we do, there must be one or two stories which represent the anguish of the people. We try to do that. We'll follow up Ashok Khemkar's.
One last question, please.
Do you fear the life?
Fear my life?
Fear for your life.
I've stopped fearing about that. In 2010, there was a lot of unsolicited advice and threats or whatever that came my way. I will live this life once, I will be a journalist once. And we are at that point where, as I said, I want to turn the tables. Too many journalists before me have been worried about themselves. I think we've crossed that Rubicon. And I don't think anybody will. I also want to say one thing, that fear is a very big thing. You are afraid only when you have something to hide. When you've taken a favor. I haven't taken a safety pin from a politician in my life.
Differentiate professionalism with passion. You need to be professional, that's what drives everywhere. Especially in our industry, people say be professional. But printing industry is driven by passion. Most of the people who are sitting here drive this industry because of passion. So where you are talking about that entire thing about the change, where do you draw a line between the passion for something and being professional? Being professional is exactly what we're talking about, your specific journalism. And being passionate means putting in your views. So where do you draw a line? How do you say what is professional and what could be driven by passion?
So the content has to be driven by passion. So a very simple answer to your question is, the content of Times Now is driven by passion. The way I run the organization has to be professional. But what we do on the channel has to be driven by passion. If there is no passion, then I think we are absolutely dead. We become irrelevant.
Sorry, completely out of time. Okay, just one last one.
Sir, I'm from Kanpur and I follow your program. At one time, we felt a little bit otherwise. When this under-19 captain was being stopped from entering for his exams, we thought that he should have followed some rules.
Can I give you an honest answer?
Yeah.
I studied in Hindu college, not in St. Stephen's. And the reason I picked the story was because I know how the rules are bent in St. Stephen's for a lot of other people. You see, I was only amazed at the fact that, they were so insistent on not breaking the rules for Unmukh. I would like the same objectivity to be applied to all other students regardless of their family background. So, I don't like hypocrisy. Here is somebody who has represented India and done well and won a World Cup at the under-19 level. You don't make a lesson out of that guy. And I feel colleges should not fight ego battles with students. That was my point on what was happening. Application of rules, I'm with you. I didn't mean to say you should not attend classes. But that's the only reason I felt.
I will request you Arnab to remain on stage for just 2 minutes more. I want to make an important announcement over here. The BMPA, at behest of its members, applauds the efforts taken and resilience offered by Mr. Aslam Mukhtar of Mukhtar Pakistan against the truant and high-handed tactics of the Mathadis. On his instance and persistence, the judgment pronounced by the industrial court helps the industry collectively. It marks a positive and bold milestone. His tenacity is very encouraging. The association thanks, congratulates and salutes him. I request our guest of honor, Mr. Arnab Goswami, to please present Mr. Mukhtar with a token of our appreciation. Mr. Mukhtar, please. Mr. Mukhtar from Mukhtar Pakistan. Alright, okay. Must be hot up. Let's go ahead and get the Print Summit team on stage. All the Print Summit team members on stage for a photograph with our chief guest, please. stage and ask our principal and title sponsor of the Print Summit, Xerox, Mr. Vipin Tuteja, Mr. Pankaj Kalra and Sharad to come up on stage and give Arnab a small token of our appreciation.